Welcome to the International News Channel, News LD. Today we present to you a news entitled,
Scammed out of money and tricked into fake work, the recruitment cons costing job seekers thousands. The job supply could not have come at a greater time for Theo. He had been job attempting to find a year, selecting up half-time hours and occasions. He was homeless, crashing on mates' couches. I took the first alternative that got here to me as a result of I used to be like, I simply must get out of this case, Theo, whose actual title is being withheld, advised Sky News. From the employer's perspective, he was the excellent candidate, he was determined, and he didn't ask too many questions. He is aware of that's what they seemed for as a result of when he began, that is who he was advised to rent. Those who weren't postponed by the skank date and on the firm's website. Those who actually wanted the money. Besides, they'd by no means receive a commission for his or her work, and they'd get scammed out of lots of kilos in the course of. The scam turns into the scam, or the ripoff that received Theo was a multi-pronged assault. First, his new employer advised him he'd must pay for an HR qualification, with the promise of reimbursement as he accomplished the modules. They mentioned, it is solely going to value a number of 100 kilos, however you are going to have a job, you are going to get month-to-month earnings, and, yeah, so I simply took it. He paid £275 to what seemed like an exterior coaching supplier and logged in for his first day. He was advised he can be recruiting folks. All he wanted to do first was purchase a burner cell phone and shell out £118 for a job board CV subscription. The primary individual he known as was just a few girl who was looking for a job as effectively, simply as desperately as I used to be. When the roles have been reversed and I learned the script, and then I remembered the manner I used to be interviewed, I used to be like, okay, that is precisely the identical, Theo mentioned. In my thoughts, I used to be like, this isn't proper. However, at the identical time, I spent loads of money that I did not wish to stroll away without getting refunded. Job scams. Jobs aware recommendation for what to look out for. 1. Be cautious of generic sounding jobs that don't require expertise or qualifications. 2. Test email addresses, do they give the impression of being official? 3. Discover how emails are written, dangerous grammar, odd phrasing and Americanized English may be purple flags. 4. Watch out for sudden requests for cost. 5. Watch out for requests to one thing to get the job, corresponding to coaching you need to pay for. 6. Be cautious about tempo and stress, scammers wish to act shortly. 7. Beware of a scarcity of correct process, corresponding to not offering a contract or errors in terminology or foreign money in the contract. 8. Individuals disappearing immediately is one other warning signal. One thing is mistaken scams on the rise. Theo is one of the rising quantity of folks falling foul of recruitment scams. The scams aren't new, however, as folks misplaced work throughout the pandemic and recruitment moved online, the development picked up, and it has accelerated as the value of dwelling disaster has deepened. The Cyber Helpline, a charity serving to victims of cybercrime, has seen a 286% improve in job scams over the final 9 months in contrast with the entire 12 months earlier than that. New analysis commissioned by Ofcom revealed 30% of adults in the UK have skilled some form of employment ripoff. The scams are diverse. Some trick folks into paying charges for fake visas, qualifications, or safety checks, others get folks handy over financial institution particulars. Some folks discover they've unintentionally been concerned in money laundering or perpetuating the ripoff, or get tricked into doing actual work they by no means receives a commission for. Picture, Theo was tricked into recruiting different folks to the ripoff. Pic, I stalk idiot me twice. Job scams hand criminals the instruments to harm their victims greater than as soon as, the Cyber Helpline CEO Rory Innes defined. Take into consideration what's beneficial to criminals, money and details about people. Job fraud's excellent as a result of you may get somebody to ship you a CV and their passport particulars and fake to do a DBS examine or legal document examine, and then you definitely rip off them out of money, so you have made the money, you have additionally received all the knowledge which you'll be able to then use or promote for different scams. You would possibly assume scammers would run for canopy as soon as they've been discovered out, however some take it as a chance to use folks once more, Mr. Innes mentioned. They will cell phone up, fake to be the police, and say, look, we all know you've been scammed by this fake firm. If you want to put your money into a secure account or in the event you give us a deposit, we'll go and assist and get well your money dash and then they get scammed once more. Typically folks lose extra in these restoration scams than they do in the authentic ripoff, Mr. Ennis mentioned, significantly in the event that they're tricked into handing over their financial institution particulars. I used to be a multitude how a lot folks lose by means of job scams varies broadly. Some, like Theo, will likely be scammed out of a number of 100 kilos. Others lose thousands, even tens of thousands of kilos. However, the impression is greater than monetary, Mr. Ennis mentioned. Suppose of any individual who's misplaced possibly £2,000, which may take away their means to pay the hire or feed their kids. The larger impression on that particular person is psychological well-being, it is their means to be online and belief, however it's additionally simply their day-to-day lives. Maya, whose actual title is being withheld, stop a job she favored for a task at the identical firm as Theo. She was a multitude when she realized the job she had signed up for did not exist. When all of it went down I used to be crying hysterically, not as a result of I've misplaced out on the money, they'll hold the money. It's the incontrovertible fact that I haven't got a job. You want a job, particularly in London, how scammers work, and the warning indicators Maya mentioned she's usually switched on to scams however everything was excellent. She received a contract, she had a Zoom interview, the website appeared reliable and nothing was giving me the intestine feeling that this was bizarre, even when she was requested to pay the £275 coaching price. At first look the firm's website appears appropriately furnished with HR buzzwords and workplace images. However look a bit nearer and the pages are peppered with dummy lorem ipsum textual content, the photos are inventory photographs and typos abound. These are basic job ripoff warning indicators, Jobs Aware CEO Keith Rosser mentioned. His organization helps job ripoff victims, and they've acquired 10 complaints about this firm alone. One other purple flag is generic sounding jobs with low boundaries to entry, as a result of the scammers need as many candidates as potential. Even when on daily basis they're fooling 10% of these folks, it is very profitable for them, he mentioned. Monitoring down scammers' prosecution is uncommon in job ripoff instances, regardless of Jobs Aware and the cyber helpline constructing proof for police reviews. However, with police sources stretched and loads of scammers based mostly overseas and working online, tracing people is tough. Pauline Smith, head of Motion Fraud, the nationwide reporting center for fraud and cybercrime, confirmed it had acquired 4 complaints about the firm. Theo and Maya declare they have been scammed by. Not less than 1 continues to be being assessed by the Nationwide Fraud Intelligence Bureau, NFIB, at the Metropolis of London Police. Life after the ripoff. Theo left the job after 3 days, £400 poorer and without the bar shifts he used to depend on. He is cautious of job searching now, demoralized and solely making use of to the greater, however extra aggressive, firms. Maya had extra luck discovering work, however she's nonetheless having to ask for assist with hire over the subsequent few months. It has undoubtedly affected my belief, she mentioned. To discover a job on this day is tough sufficient. You really get a job and you get handed by means of all the ID checks and everything, for it to simply be a rip-off is a shock to the system. One week I used to be celebrating. The following week I used to be crying.